Hello. Right, so we're on week 144 maintenance. Been a good week actually, so no dramas concerning equipment failures or anything like that. The one thing I did do is, if you remember last week, I'll put that mic there, I was talking about the back toe MP back toe pellets that I use, which are from Tropic Marin, and I was running them in my good old Royal Exclusive reactor. So I like this reactor because that's the inlet, the water goes round, and that's the outlet. So it's very nice because it allows you to just unscrew the top like that and pull out the foam, drop in some more beads and put the top back on. Obviously you have to turn the valve off to stop the flow, otherwise you're going to make a mess, but it's very easy. It's very easy to get that off and get it back on. All the pipe works down the bottom. That's what I really like them. I love them. Trouble is they're not big enough. So what happened is, I had the beads probably at the level where that sponge is, and I could just get them sort of bubbling away, but it meant the rest of the beads, the water was channeling rather than actually turning them over. So I tried multiple times, and every time I increased the flow to move the beads in the body of the skimmer, I'd come back 2 or 3 hours later and all of the pellets would be clumped up the top with that sponge pushed up, and they'd all be rammed up there and they weren't really getting much movement at all. So the idea of rolling the pellets is because as the bacteria eat the polymers, which they're made of, when they're bashing into each other, the bacteria get sloughed off, and then they're in the water column, and then they either go to feeding the corals, or most of them will go to the skimmer and get pulled out. So the bacteria consuming the nitrates and phosphates, and then you're pulling them out, basically. Pretty simple. My skimmer has got a really nice dark greeny brown skimmate in it, which makes me think it's probably working better. Now I've moved over to the Deltec reactor, which is 3 times the size of that. I've added all the pellets, all the 1,000 mil that you get in that container are all in that reactor, and they're really, turning over quite vigorously, quite nicely. So that's where I just don't like the reactor. I just find it really awkward because all the pipe work goes in the top, and it is the top you have to remove. So you have to try and grip the reactor with one hand, which is difficult because it's a big cylinder, so it's hard and it's wet, obviously. And then twist the top. You've got all the pipe work on there. It's just a faff. I just don't like the design of them, but once it's all in and running, it's working really well. But I think I will at some point probably just treat myself to a like a 3 litre Royal Exclusive one. It's probably, it's going to be like the price of a small family saloon car probably. So I will get that at some point in the year. Right, so that's equipment wise all good. Maintenance wise, that's it. All I've done is change the reactor over. No nightmares this week, everything's running good. The only nightmare I have had is self-inflicted by myself, really, mainly because I was kind of rushing, I suppose that's what, I can't actually remember why I was rushing, but I was, so on a Friday I go to AAC. I don't go, this is a new thing I'm starting for this year really. So on a Friday I'll go to AAC because I like to pick up some live food, and they get it either delivered Thursday or Friday, I can't remember. Fridge is always full, and I will buy myself a frag. So this week I bought myself a chalice, and the idea was I'm going to stick it on the back wall and then let it just spread across the back wall, because I've got 4 metres of glass there, and all that's on it at the moment is algae and coralline. So I thought, get some low light corals, they look better than how it looks at the moment. So normally, if I need to get to the back of the tank, like if I get to the MP40s that are on the back to clean them, I will raise my lights up out of the way, take the covers off at the top of the tank, get the steps, take the top off, because otherwise it if I lean right over, my shirt normally just drops in the tank. And then I can get to the back wall, I can access the back wall. Right, so I'm in a rush. So I've dipped my coral, I always dip them with prime, which is potassium. 5-minute dip, swirl it all around, clean it all off. Now, the way I do it with hard corals, so all SPS, stuff like that, chalices for example, is if I can't take them off the plug, and I couldn't get the chalice off the plug, I could have, but I probably would have smashed it into several pieces, so I thought, right, I'll leave it on the plug. So in that case, I buy the small tubes of super glue. I can't remember who makes them. I can't even remember how big they are. 3 grams maybe, 1.5, 3 grams anyway. I just smother it, right? So the bottom of the plug gets absolutely smothered. So I use at least a whole tube. Sometimes I use 2, depending on the size of the plug. And I want the bottom of the plug to be completely covered with super glue, and then I want the glue to ooze over so it goes up the side of the plug onto the living tissue of the coral, right? So I don't want any of that plug not covered in super glue. Smothered it, right? So that's what I do, I smother them basically. So I've smothered the plug. Now, because I'm in a rush, I've decided what I'll do is I'll get my tongs, and these little grippers. These are Max Spec, these ones. They've got like little rubbery, grippery bits in there. Yeah, they're pretty good. So I've got the plug like that. I've lifted up the lid. I've gone in to hit the back of the tank to stick it on with the super glue. I've got probably 2 inches off the back of the tank, and I must have just, I don't know, relaxed my grip slightly, or the current's caught it. Anyway, the plug's just fallen out of the end of these grippers. Now, normally you just go, oh, I'll pick it up again, it's not a problem, is it? Well, unfortunately, if anything falls through the water column in this tank, my tangs are on it, like, instantly. And in this particular case, the gem tang got there first, took a huge mouthful of the super glue that was dropping on the bottom of the frag, and got all of its mouth covered in super glue. So I did post a video showing it, like, not long after it happened. So I was like, oh my god. So I thought, well, if it's glued its mouth shut, obviously it's gonna be dire problems. So I sat here and watched it, but it's got it kind of on its top lip, so it can open its bottom part of its mouth. So this is this is Friday, this is Monday, so it's had it for 4 days now. So half of it has fallen off, but it's still got a big piece of white moustache stuck to the top of his lip. But he's eating fine, he's eating the frozen, he's eating the nori, so I can only imagine at some point that will eventually fall off. Well, I'm quite surprised it's still on there, to be honest, but I think what's happened is he's not grazing on the rock like he normally would, so it's obviously annoying him to the point where he's not acting entirely normal. Because I think if he was grazing on the rock, he'd rip it off, but maybe it's painful, I don't know. Yeah, so anyway, so that was entirely brought on by me, really, trying to rush, and in the end, as is normally the case, when you try and rush things, it takes twice as long. Because obviously I sat here thinking, shit, my fish might die, so I need to watch it and see what he's doing. So I was out here twice the time as if I'd have just done it properly, really. So these are just the things we do in life, you know. Sometimes we try and cut corners and it just bites you. So I think that's it really for this week. So yeah, so other than my own stupidity of trying to rush something, everything else has gone fine. I'm just about to do the water change, my pellets are all working fine, so hopefully next week will be even shorter, because I won't have nearly killed some of my fish. And all the equipment will just be working good. So I think that's it. So I will see you in the next one.